Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk all about the Hermes Birkin bag. So I'm going to share with you my one and only Birkin, and then we're going to answer the question, what's so special about the Birkin? Is it even special? Is it a little bit special, or is it just all hype? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below as you watch this video. I'm also going to share my personal, unfiltered, candid thoughts on whether or not I feel that this bag is more special than any other bag out there. But first, let me share with you the specs on this bag, and then we'll talk about the history and the craftsmanship, what others say about the bag, how it's become so popular, and then we're going to talk about the aspects that make it just another bag. So this right here is the Birkin 30 size, which means it goes 30 centimeters across. This is the gold color. That's what Hermes calls it, gold. It's this rich caramel brown tone. And this is in the Togo leather. There are a variety of different leathers and obviously a variety of different colors that the Birkin is produced in, but this particular bag is in Togo leather, which is known to be quite durable, but it should not get wet. It's good for holding up to slouching, maintains its structure, and the feel of it is grainy, it's pebbled, and the way I would describe it is kind of powdery, a little bit of that dusty, soft feel to it. So it's not slick, it's not polished, it has a powdery feel to it. It's very unique. I've never felt leather like this. And then mine is in the palladium hardware. So palladium is a metal that is about 30 times rarer than gold, and it is more durable and harder than gold. It's also more costly per ounce. But Hermes makes Birkins in palladium, gold, and also rose gold. Now the gold is usually 18K gold plating, and then on some really rare bags or special order bags, they can be 24K plated. Now there's also the 25 centimeter, which is quite popular, and you would think that only 5 centimeters shorter in length would not make that big of a difference, but it does make a considerable difference when you wear the bag. On your frame, it's going to feel much more petite, a little bit more mini. Still a very good size bag, but much smaller in height as well, and the drop length is also shorter. So a lot of people complain that they can't put the straps through the crook of their arm on the 25, and they just have to hand hold it like this. So the 30 is often referred to as the medium or a Goldilocks size, which is kind of perfect for a lot of people. Then you've got the 35 centimeter, which is just 5 centimeters longer across, and it's also going to be taller and overall much bigger. So the look of that is going to be more oversized, and depending on your frame, that might actually suit you quite well. So here's the history on the craftsmanship. The part that makes this Birkin bag so special in some people's minds is because it's one craftsman to one bag, meaning that there's an artisan that starts this bag and sees it through to completion. And apparently it takes up to 40 hours. Now, if you say 40 hours to make a bag, it doesn't sound all that long, but 40 hours is a full work week. Think about how much you do in a work week. And I actually did an arts and crafts project with my kids over the weekend, and we were sewing little leather charms, kind of like the rodeo charms that they sell at Hermes. I'll show you when it's complete. But after only about 45 minutes to an hour of sewing, our palms were sweaty, our neck and backs were stiff, our fingers were shaking, we had pricked ourselves with needles a few times, and while it was a fun project, it was a lot of work and quite frustrating, and we're still not done. So multiply that by 40 to make a full bag, up to obviously much higher standards than what my kids and I were doing for our arts and crafts project. This bag sells for 5 figures in the boutiques. I purchased this in the New York City boutique few years ago, and I know the price has since gone up, but it was 5 figures then, it's 5 figures now, and obviously on the resale market it's going to go for higher, and that's one of the selling points for some of the Hermes bags, not all of them, but in particular the Birkin and a few of the other very popular hard to get bags. They do hold their value. So the idea is that if you were to purchase one of these today, you can actually profit off of them by selling it down the road, or you can at the very least get your money back. Now, I have mixed feelings on that because I believe that unless you have a surefire way to sell your bag in a safe method, you might not actually make a profit. Depends on how long you hold it, how rare the bag is, what condition it's in. Because a lot of times, if you were to sell something like this through traditional consignment, they will take a 30% cut, which will cut into your sale price, which means that even if the price is marked up on the resale market, you might just break even or make a tiny profit, again, depending on all the terms of your bag, the color, the popularity of it, the size, the condition, what you've saved along with it, all the things that comes with the accessories, the paperwork, the box, the dust bag, etc. So I always caveat that the Birkins may hold their value, and they certainly do much better than other bags out there. And you may be able to make a profit, but there is no guarantee. So people who go into Hermes trying to score one of these bags, hoping to turn it into some kind of profitable business, I don't think that is very sustainable, nor do I think it's wise. All right, so it's one craftsman to one bag. It takes up to 40 hours to create. And my research tells me that the stitching actually cannot be replicated by machine. Now, I don't know much about this, but I'm going to show you the stitching here. Here, I'll go over here on this side so you can see a little bit better. Mine has the contrast white stitching, which I think is quite nice. And what I've learned is that it takes 2 needles to simultaneously pass through the same seam to produce a Birkin correctly. So I don't know if this is a quality thing, if it is a way to prevent knockoffs, if it's a special technique that was produced by Hermes so that they can identify the true Birkins that were created by their artisans. But nonetheless, there is some kind of technique that cannot be replicated by machine. So these are all handmade, which says a lot in the world of highly mass-produced bags out there in the world. Especially nowadays, it's just churn and burn with all the trends and all the new seasons, and every season there's something new, and so there's so many bags coming out, and clothes and shoes and all of that. But since we're talking about bags, so these bags technically are meant to stand the test of time, both in terms of quality and also in terms of style and aesthetic. This is not the most beautiful looking bag, let's be honest. I personally think it's a little bit androgynous or masculine, which has its charm to it for sure. I also don't think this is an everyday bag, but I do think it's a handsome bag, and it has some interesting elements to it, like the sangles here and this piece. Now I'll pull all of this stuff out. So this is just a little silk twilly that sometimes for fun I put on one of the handles, and then I've got that tissue paper. So here's what it looks like on the inside. Pretty straightforward. You've got one large compartment here, and then it's got this zippered compartment on the other side. So it does have function to it, not just form. But now here, this funny looking flap here goes over. And so in terms of practicality, to actually secure the bag, it's not very user friendly. It's not very practical. You can certainly secure it. Let's say you're traveling with the bag, or you just want to feel a bit more secure because you're carrying some valuables in the bag. You can close it up, but you can see as I'm talking and I'm trying to do this, I'm fumbling a bit, probably because I'm not comfortable doing this since I hardly ever close up the bag. Oh gosh, it's tricky doing this looking through the camera, but you get the point. So you'd have to line those up, pull the sangles through, latch them on, and then you've got this piece here that goes through here. I mean, it's very secure, but who in their right mind wants to do this multiple times a day? And that's what it looks like. And it looks quite put together, quite polished like this. But most people leave it open. And that's me. I'm most people. And I usually put a large shawl or scarf right on top, something floofy. And it's light, so it won't add much weight to my bag. And I just throw it right on top as a security measure, just so that my stuff is just not completely out in the open. But when you actually hold the bag like this, it does cinch here, so there's barely even an inch of an opening here. And so you'd have to be pretty careless for someone to get in and out of it or for your belongings to spill out. Here's the back of the bag. I feel like we never look at the back of the Birkin, so here's the back. Now, in terms of exclusivity, because these bags are handmade by one craftsman and it obviously takes time and there are only a certain number of artisans that are trained every year, these bags are limited. Probably intentionally because it works for Hermes. That allows them to be slow and intentional so that they're not overproducing and rushing orders. But at the same time, it's totally for their benefit in terms of profits and for the hype, because the exclusivity factor makes a lot of people want the bag more. It's sort of human nature when we're told that we can't have it or there are very few to have, we want it. Especially us handbag enthusiasts. Those who don't care about handbags probably don't even know about the Birkin and couldn't care less. So it's the scarcity mindset that comes with the exclusivity. And then, of course, this bag is named after Jane Birkin, and you guys probably already know the story of Jane Birkin, the famed singer, actress, model, who was on an airplane, and she was carrying a straw basket, and she was putting her basket bag overhead on the airplane, and all of her items spilled out. She happened to be sitting right near the chairman of Hermes at the time, and they had a conversation about how to create a bag that would be friendly for the traveling woman. So this is technically to be traveled with, and it would be secure. So this has been named after Jane Birkin, and those who are fans of Jane Birkin love that association with the woman herself. I personally did not grow up loving or really knowing much about Jane Birkin, so that connection is not there for me. I have a very different connection. You can see I've got my Hermes bracelet, ring. I'm drinking out of an Hermes mug right now. I have other pieces that are not handbags. I fell in love with Hermes because of their equestrian history. They're very, very, very strongly tied to horse equestrian culture, especially their saddles and the leather craftsmanship that goes into their exquisite saddles. Actually, when I go into an Hermes boutique, I make a beeline to go and feel their saddles on display because I think they're so beautiful. I used to be a horse rider. I rode horses in college, and so I have a lot of fond memories. So anything that has to do with equestrian culture really just makes me smile. When I learned that Hermes was tied to that, that's when I started buying jewelry and accessories. It wasn't until about 4 or 5 years into my shopping with Hermes that I even cared about a Birkin. So that's my personal history. Will this bag get old? Yes. Will it start to slouch over time? Yeah, possibly. Will the corners get worn? Sure. If you wear it hard enough for long enough, yes, it will get worn. Will the handles get dirty? Yes. A lot of times people say you should put the silk twillies on both handles because the handles will be very costly to replace. These handles are very difficult to make. Apparently this part here takes almost the longest time to make in this whole bag construction. So if your handles get dirty and you need to get them replaced, it will be costly and also require a lot of time and effort on the part of an Hermes repairman or craftsman. But you see, I don't have my handles covered because this is a bag. At the end of the day, even after everything I've shared, it is just another bag. Is it a more expensive bag? Yes. Is it special in some ways? Yeah. Is it made differently than some of the mass-produced bags? Yes, for sure. But is it meant to be used? Yes. In my eyes, yes. I'm not a collector. I'm not in the business of flipping these bags. I'm not putting these on a shelf for display. I'm using it. So my handles will get dirty. I will be careful. But if they get dirty, they get dirty. And if I have to send them off to the spa or get them replaced through Hermes, fine. They are known to have really, really good aftercare services. Again, unlike many of the other high-end brands who kind of leave you out to dry if something happens to your item. So it's meant to be used. It will get used. It will get dirty. It will get beaten up. It will get ripped, torn, creased, what have you. If you look at some really old Birkins out there, some people are fans of the older, used up Birkins because they just have this charm to them versus a more newer looking one. You could just tell that it's been loved on. So it's just a bag. That's my unfiltered, candid opinion. Do I treat this bag differently than my other bags? Largely no. I store it the exact same way in its dust bag, just along with all the other bags that I own at all different price ranges, from all different brands. I stick it in my closet, and I stuff it with tissue paper like I do with my other bags. I don't have it in a vault. I don't have it in some special temperature controlled crazy thing. I don't know if anyone does that, but I do think that sometimes we are delusional to think that a bag is anything more than just a bag, and that we have to create extra work for ourselves to maintain it or to treat it a certain way or to store it a certain way. It's a bag. It's a leather bag. It is very nicely designed, very well made. It should stand the test of time. I should be able to hand this down to whomever, my daughter or my daughter-in-law in the future, or just wear it until I'm ripe and gray and living my wonderful old age life with my husband. It should, versus a bag that I'm going to get mass produced. There are also really high value bags that are not coming with all the hype, and you can get them for hundreds of dollars, let alone thousands and thousands of dollars. So you guys know this past year I have really been exploring a lot of other brands and introducing up and coming brands to you all. So that has also factored into my thinking about, as much as I am a handbag enthusiast and owning this Birkin bag is quite lovely, it is just a bag. I have other bags that I enjoy just as much, if not more. So that is my take. I hope that you don't take that as handbag blasphemy, because there are people out there, believe it or not, who like worship these bags, and they want like 50 of them or 100 of them, or their life's mission is to collect as many of these as possible. And once they get one, they want 2, 3, 4, 5. They want different colors, different sizes, and then they want special order, and then they want exotics, and then they need a room for them, and then they need a lock for them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But me personally, that would cause me a great deal of stress, and I would feel so overwhelmed because I don't need all that. I don't want all that. I can't use all that. So that's why I say my one and only Birkin. So that's it. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm really curious what you all think, because I know many of you, if not all of you, are here because you're also handbag enthusiasts and you like these things. So what's so special about a Birkin? Do you think it's special at all? Or is it just another bag? Be honest. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.